Hey everybody, Renko Brothers here with your Future Stars forecast, and alongside me, Miguel Clement, who's just had an incredible season and your first as head trainer. Obviously it's been a difficult time, but my goodness, these horses, there's no rest with the horses, right? You got to keep going.
Yeah, very much a full-time job.
Yeah.
Fortunately, they've been running well, so it's like a well-needed distraction for the whole family and stable. Yeah.
Yeah, no, not to get too personal, but I lost my father in 2020. And so there's just no way to ever account for that person not being there with you, especially when you guys work so closely together. But I got to imagine, my gosh, the way you've managed the barn, the way that, as I wrote in the post to promote the show, the way you've taken the reins and you've shown such perseverance and you've just excelled at all these opportunities you've been given with these horses.
Yeah, the horse has been running very well. We've got a great team. My family stepped up, and we all had to, it was a difficult transition, and hopefully we did it well. So it's not straightforward, but we're doing our best we can. So.
I read in an article that he was instrumental in picking out some of the 2-year-olds that have been in the barn. And were any of the ones that are heading Breeders' Cup ones that your dad was part of selecting?
Yes, he actually purchased Intricate Spirit.
He did.
Which is no surprise because he loves buying from Airdrie. And we also have the sibling, Spirit Prince, who also won a stakes with us. So he double dips in the family, and he was right to do so. So yeah, it's very exciting.
Oh, I love it. Well, let's talk about Intricate Spirit. This horse got his ticket punched to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint by winning the Futurity. And I got the replay right here, if you don't mind taking us through it.
Of course, I love watching replays when we win.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. Okay, so here we go. This was on October 3rd, going 6 furlongs. The Juvenile Turf Sprint's going to be at 5. He's the 3 horse. Broke sharp.
Yeah, he's got a lot of speed, and a lot of speed. Told Joel, just go for it, break well, let him run. And then here, Manny is sending Wesley Ward's horse the whole backside, so he actually called an audible Joel, and he took back. See, they start hooking up for speed, and they're rolling. Trust me, at Aqueduct, this turf course, especially for 2-year-olds, they're absolutely rolling. So Joel here just takes back a little bit. 21-1 open quarter, flying. I think the half is 43-3 or 43-4. Like, they're absolutely rolling.
Yeah.
What I love is that he's actually doing it without being asked. He's got a lot of speed, so I don't think the cut back to 5/8 would be an issue. I hope not, at least.
And I love too, whenever I see, I mentioned this with another 2-year-old that we had featured on a previous show. Whenever I see young horses on the rail and stay comfortable and then show us he did, he just angled out to come now with his run. I always love to see that because it tells me they've got a good mind.
Yeah, he's a little bit versatile, so he's not just the need the lead type, and he's got a tremendous amount of speed, and I'm excited. I don't think the cutback to 5/8 is an issue for him.
No.
He's be forwardly placed. Joel could go forward, or could be stalking right behind them, so it gives him a little bit of versatility, which is probably needed for these 2-year-old sprints.
Well, and I love the pedigree. Son of complexity. And then the female family is that of Champion Bounding. And you've got millionaires in there like Anthony Van Dyke, Morning Line, Express Train. And that is just a few of the stars in the family. So very nice.
Yeah, it wasn't easy when we decided to sprint them first time out on the grass.
Yeah.
The pedigree was a bit...
could go either way.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was a little bit stressful, but it was a Champion Rising Star first time out, so I guess we did get it right somewhat. He won by 4 or 5 at Saratoga on debut, so I think we got it right. But I wouldn't, scratch the idea of stretching him out a little bit further one day, or even trying a different surface. His works are okay. So
yeah, he's only 3/4 of a length shy of being undefeated, and that was at Kentucky Downs.
Yeah, and if you look at the horse who beat him, I'm still to this day very upset. We got beat in 2 allowances at Kentucky Down, 3 allowances. I did not think we could get beat. Not think I could get beat. He got beat, and I was in a foul mood. In hindsight, the horse who beat him was Ben Colbrook's horse, who's going to the Breeders' Cup, who then won the $1 million+ race. Just few days later. We got beat with like Love Severian allowance for straight through Phase. She came back
Yeah.
grade 3 Glen Cove, and then we got beat somehow. We ran second. We also ran second with You Know Nothing to a filly called Stellify, who then won
Yes.
the ladies marathon like 6 days later and is now going to the Breeders' Cup. So we found a way. So I guess I'm a bad trainer. We found a way to get these things beat. Run second allowances, where 3 of them are all going to the Breeders' Cup since then. And my luck is that we picked the same allowance as these horses who are running the Breeders' Cup eventually goes. You just can't make it up.
Yeah,
we can't control who's in the entry box, I guess. You know?
Street Beast just got Intricate Spirit there by, again, 3/4 of a length. And how would you describe running at Kentucky Downs with a 2-year-old in particular? It's just so different.
Yeah, but if you have a good mind, they can do it. I mean, the only thing is I do think it stretches them. So I think 6.5 in Kentucky Downs is probably
more like
7/8 anywhere else. And maybe you blame me again. He had a lot of speed, and he was always dictating terms comfortably on the bridle. And maybe the last 16th or the last 8th was probably the end of the world for him, especially then. And that's why I do think cutting him back in distance is not an issue for us. And I do think he's got a lot of talent. So we'll see.
He's an exciting horse. And I should give a shout out. His dam is by Curlin. We all love Curlin, Hall of Famer. West Point Thoroughbreds, Medicat Stables are the co-owners. And Joel Rosario, I would assume, is going to maintain the mount.
Yeah, the co-owners as well as Ken and Gail Bites. We're also, so it's 3 ways. And Joel will retain the mount, correct.
All right, awesome. And I mean, what a steal too. 185,000. I mean, not that any 6 figures is anything to sniff at, but still, when you've got a horse like this, who, again, just 3/4 of a length shy of being undefeated, now graded stakes winner, heading to the Breeders' Cup. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad we secured him, and because he did so well, we tried to buy the brother, actually, Keelan, the Keelan sale just the other day. He went for a lot of money. It was a Gervin, gorgeous horse, but we were not able to secure him. But yeah, that's exciting.
Ah, nice. What is the first thing you guys look for in a horse?
Well, first off, pedigree. Without being bad, but if they don't have the pedigree that we like, I take them off the list right away. I just can't.
What do you want to see right away in that pedigree? Are you somebody you want to see consistent black type generation to generation?
I'm old school. I guess that's because Dad probably ingrained it to me like 9 million times, and I've got my biggest bollockings ever at sales, not following his rules. He's allowed to break the rules, but I'm not. So let's be fair. He's the boss.
Yeah.
I mean, complexity was unproven at the time, so he's allowed to break the rules. I was not, but that's okay. But unproven science is a no-go. Although this one is, that's a story for another day. And he was the boss. So he's allowed to break the rules. And bad mares, proven mares, any mare that has more than 4 foals of racing age that are not black type, we don't go in. That's
okay.
Speaking, those are the 2 no-goes. Usually we fall.
You want that statistical leverage on the mare for sure.
Correct. Young mares is okay. Proven mares that are older, that are successful, they're okay as well. Proven bad mares is a no-go no matter what. So, yeah.
Well, I know that D. Wayne Lucas had his list of non-negotiables in terms of the confirmation. What are your non-negotiables? Excuse me.
It varies. You love a good hip, but sometimes when you buy in some parts of the world, they don't have the same hip as we do in the States. So when you're buying at Tattersall in France, it's not quite the same. So you have to be forgiving. Same as pasture. It depends a little bit what you're buying, if that makes sense. Your dirt horses are much different than your turf horses, which are also, the American turf horses are a lot different than your European turf horses. So it really depends. Depends what you're looking for and what you can get away with, if that makes sense.
Well, of course. And before we move on to talk about some of the other stars there in the barn, you also are a graduate of the Godolphin Flying Start program. So, I mean, you just have this master tutelage from, your father. And then again, this is a program that's brought together some of the brightest minds in the horse industry into one program to, really take on all aspects of the industry. What are some of the best key takeaways you took from both working with your father and Godolphin Flying Start?
Yeah, so Dad always pushed me. So first off, pushed me academically. So I went to Duke. After that, I went straight to the Flying Start program, immediately upon graduating. And then I was fortunate because he always thought I should learn from as many people around the world. So the Flying Start was a great program. I highly recommend it to any young individual that's taking this industry serious, because I think it's a great gateway to whatever you like to do. And then after that, I was fortunate enough to work for Mike DeCock. So the Flying Start also puts you in placements all around the world. And so when you have an interaction with your placement, it could open the doors for future positions. So I was fortunate enough to work for Mike DeCock afterwards in South Africa.
What was that like?
I loved it. If the racing level was a bit more prestigious without being rude, or the finances was stronger, I probably would have stayed a lot longer there because I loved working there. And I became close to his son, Matthew, who I think is a very good trainer as well. And then after a few months in South Africa, I went to go be a pupil assistant for Hugo Palmer at Newmarket for 2.5 years. And then I came back to the States to be with Dad. So you learn a lot. The more you see, I mean, you name it, training racehorses, we all think it's like a standard way of doing it. But trust me, every country is different in terms of management, communication, the way they train, the injuries they see, the way they deal with you name it, it's all different. It's the same concept, but it's pretty much it's always different. It's great. You see what you like to do, what you don't like to do, like the things you learned when I was at Mike DeCock. A lot of barefoot training, pacing.
Yeah.
All our horses are now barefoot. It works. It's great. Treadmill training. We've not incorporated that, but I would like to one day, maybe potentially down the road. I'm not sure how my owners are going to feel about that if I start training them on the treadmill, but it does work. There's many ideas. Many things you learn forever. It's great. At Hugo Palmer's, we had our yearlings in. Something that we don't do in the States. We don't break our.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
In Europe, they all do. My uncle does in France. They all do in Europe. Here is we have a pre-trainers who do it. I don't know if you want to take one to Ascot. You probably should better off breaking it yourself and have them ready into a program sooner than later. So just it's food for thought.
Oh yeah. No, hey, that makes total sense. And going back to what you're mentioning about barefoot training, one of the biggest complaints that some people have regarding thoroughbreds is shelly feet. I would think by letting them be barefoot as much as possible would help strengthen that. And
yeah, it's neat. It's neat. It's a good experiment, to be honest with you. We do it all the time. And we don't do it as much in New York for one reason alone, because in New York, our wash racks, walking to and from the track, the worst thing is concrete. And we have a lot of concrete, especially training in New York. So, which is inevitable, and that's why you have shoes to protect them. So, other than that, I would go barefoot a lot more often. Pacing, we go barefoot all the time. And sometimes the best thing to do is just take off the shoes. You start off with a stronger hoof, and then as the season goes on, you go back to shoes. And then, for the horses struggling feet-wise, sometimes you'd love to go barefoot, then you go nails. And then if nails doesn't work, then you go glue. But sometimes to be year-round in glue is not, it's not the best for the foot. So it's nice to have a downtime.
Well, one of the things that I've always been kind of sad about regarding our track placement is our tracks have obviously these cities have grown up around them. So we don't have all this field and trails for horses to hack on like other countries do. It's something that, obviously a place like Fairhill is awesome because they have all that land out there and they're able to get those horses out, get the cardio up without actually pushing them too hard also. Have you been a little, I don't want to say upset, that have you wished also that we had more tracks that had those opportunities here in the States?
It depends, because every country you have your limitations. Okay? Yeah. So everyone talks about the pros and cons. For instance, in Europe, the labor is very difficult to find. Here, we complain sometimes about labor. Truthfully, we are so much better off than they are in other countries. Like our labor, we have a phenomenal workforce, and we're actually blessed. So like every country has their limitations. Training. So for instance, here to train, my dad actually came to the States because he was not able to afford starting off in Europe, because you have to pay for your yard. You have to own your yard in order to train. In the States, you come in and you train right on the racetrack. It's essentially free. You might have a small stall rent per day, but it's very, very insignificant in the grand scheme of things. He was priced out of training in Europe. So that's why he first came to the States, because the opportunity was there and the prize money was so strong. So it varies. Being based on the racetrack, A, cuts your costs. B, you have an edge. You could school your horses. You could be based there. You could perform. And I always think it's great to compete at the same racetrack you're based at. That's a small issue in Florida. Florida is really our hibernation period, our 6 months. We love Payson Park. I think Dad and I are probably the two strongest advocates of how much we love Payson Park, because it's a training facility, and it's the perfect, in my opinion, middle step between European training facilities and being on a racetrack in America. So you bring all these horses from Europe. I would love to bring them to Payson and introduce them to Payson Park as their first stepping stone to the U.S. racing. Because it's paddocks, it's an oval shape, so it's the same concept as a racetrack, but you can still turn them out. Paddocks is beautiful. It's Florida. There's no concrete. There's so many benefits I can't even go on to it. Anyway,
I've heard wonderful things about Payson. Yeah, absolutely.
There's a reason why Mr. Mott, my dad, and many of the guys, Mr. McGay, have been there for many, many years.
Yes.
I don't know so much for the lifestyle or for the horses, but it's at least one or the other, or if not both. But that's great. But
No, I had Mr. Brandt on an episode of the Future Stars Forecast last year, and we talked about Payson Park and just how important it is, and you know, the pride in taking care of such a facility.
even if Gulfstream's future is in jeopardy, I still see a world, even if something happened and there's no racing at Gulfstream, I still see a world where our better horses will still go to Payson for the winter time because the downtime and to bring them back for the rest of the year, 'cause they need an off season, I think,
Oh,
horses.
yes.
And I think that's a great location. And it's a great winter place to be. And I could not recommend it enough, to be honest. But
Mhm.
you know, maybe I'm biased. We've been there our entire life for our winters. But I love it. So that's back to where we're talking about being on the racetrack. The flip side is in the wintertime, I like to give the good horses a break. However, I do think I'm at a disadvantage when competing at Gulfstream or Tampa because we're not based on the racetrack. You have to ship there and back. It's not home base, and you can't paddock school or get them settled into routine of that specific racetrack. That's why I'm very, very, very excited when you're racing at Belmont because we're going to be based there. And I always love racing here at Saratoga because I always think you have an edge when competing at the track you're based at. So it varies. So yes, you're not in a training facility. Flip side, you're actually at the actual racetrack. So I think we have it well. In the winter, we're based on training facility and we hibernate more often than not. And the rest of the year, we run a lot and we like to be based at the track.
Well,
So
the
it varies.
Clement Park, I mean, if you guys have been running at a disadvantage, it did not show at Tampa at all because you guys run. You every time you see Clement there in the PPs, you know that horse is live.
Yeah, but it doesn't really mean anything because like half the field, it feels like, are all shipping from Payson and we're all running
That's a
at
good
Tampa
point.
anyway. You see in there, you'll have one of Chad's in there, one of, you'll see, you'll see all of us are shipping there. We might as well have that race running at Payson, it feels like sometimes, when like the majority of the field's coming from Payson Park anyway, but that's a story for another day.
Oh my goodness. Well, hopefully we do see you shipping in for Tampa this coming meet because I do love our turf course. I think it's phenomenal there. Um, and our dirt track is fair. So going back to talking just about, what we can see in terms of the disparity between international racing and here in the States. The other thing I'm curious about, for example, at Green Tree at Saratoga, um, Kieran McLaughlin, he could work when he had his barn there. He showed me Green Tree and he could work the horses both ways to keep both sides supple.
It's a big deal, correct. At Payson, we do that. We go twice the wrong way with a hack, the wrong direction. We're not supposed to, but we do it anyway. Or regulations. Here in New York, we can't really do that. We try to do a little bit, but we usually get in trouble. But I do agree because there's a reason why in this country you have more injuries on one certain front leg and hind leg, and it's a diagonal. And then the
Yeah.
more you turn the other way, you can balance it in hopes of having less injuries, always the same diagonal. So you try to compensate. So it makes sense. There's definitely a correlation.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I took lessons, they always said, "What you do to one side, you have to do the other side," and it's to maintain the suppleness and strength. And I remember there are old stories, for example, about Seattle Slew, where they would actually do dressage with him just to keep him able to bend and again keep him supple and happy on both sides. I really wish there was a way we could implement this better here in the States.
You get away with that Payson. I keep talking about Payson all the time. It's true. You get away with it a little bit. But don't forget, in this country, you have different injuries. You
Yeah.
get the same injuries all around the world. I mean, we all get injuries, but you deal with more common injuries. In this country, you have a lot more soft tissue, a lot more tendons. In Europe, we didn't have as many because we train over dirt. Dirt's deeper, tougher. Flip side, when you train uphill, you compensate. You have less injuries in front, eye tendons and such, but you get more injuries behind.
From the impulsion.
Shoulders just going up. I mean, you name it. When you train up a hill, injuries vary, if that makes sense. Depending on your training conditions, the way you train, and the level of aggression, and as well as the track. So, your name of the game is to try to have a sound horse and try to get it right as more often than not.
What is your favorite surface on which to run?
Whatever surface the race is. It's that simple.
That's a good answer. Very good answer. Janet, she says, Miguel is keeping his father's memory and winning ability alive and well. That is so true. I think everybody believed when you took over that you would be a more than worthy heir. But I don't know if anybody was prepared for just all the just immediate stake success, already into the Breeders' Cup. Again, it is heartening and it is remarkable to see. And I know that you credit your team so much, but again, you're the one that has to head the ship. It's a lot of pressure.
The stable, the whole concept of the stable is always to hibernate in the winter, to have that one run basically in March or April time, and to be hitting on all cylinders from basically about May to about December 1st. And so, it's no surprise. Unfortunately, Dad passed away end of May, but that's when the stable is supposed to be hitting on all cylinders, so it's normal. We will be hibernating in the wintertime. It's inevitable because I'm running all the good horses now, and they're going to give it a break at some stage, more than likely most of them. And so it's not really fair to credit to this one individual because it's much bigger than me, and the team's been doing very well. But if you look at the roster of horses we had very good horses for many good owners.
Barbridge,
so it's just normal that it's business as usual and just try to perform.
And I think it's wonderful that they're going to be renaming the Sword Dancer in your father's memory and his honor. It's a race he won 5 times.
Yeah, actually, I'm looking at a picture of Goofa in the background and Farbridge over there. He's won it many times. He's won it with Honor Glide. I think he won it with Winchester, Gufo twice, Farbridge once. So I think he's won at least 5 times. So now it's my job to make sure we win the inaugural one, which won't be easy. But trust me, I'll do everything I can to make sure we do it. And it won't be easy, I'll tell you that now, but we'll give it a go.
Oh no, I know. I mean, you got to have the goal, and I think you're more than knocking it out of the park, irrespective of what the actual main. You can set that goal, but just to show up and perform well, it says a lot. And it's also been really cool to see Acacia, who, for those of you, everybody knows, but in case you don't know, Acacia is one of the analysts on the NYRA broadcast, Fox Sports, and she does a tremendous.
Know who Acacia is. I mean, I'm basically Acacia's husband more than Acacia's my wife. Yeah, I got it.
Everybody knows who Acacia and Miss Connecticut. She's amazing and so poised, and she truly loves the horses. I also love that she and her mother, Sherry, they have a TAA accredited aftercare program in racing for home. They really and truly love the horses. In fact, I believe that's how she got involved in thoroughbred racing, was through rehoming them. And it's just been very cool to see her doing these winning interviews with you, because you can tell she's got to walk the line of actually being the reporter, but at the same time, she's so truly proud of you, and it just emanates off the screen.
No, it's been good. It's been some of our fair share of interviews, which is always a great thing. That means we're winning. So I've been lucky.
Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the horses that we might see. Or Tawny Port is on the bubble, right? So off that heartbreaker head defeat in the Canadian International.
Yeah, that's the plan. The plan is, let's see how he does in the coming days. 'Cause unfortunately, unlike the other horses, he did not win a British Cup winning year in. So financially, it's a gamble, which is a story for another day. But I don't understand why we British Cup supplement and they have such a big fee later. But I'm not smart enough to know why. Anyway, so it's a big gamble. So we need to figure out. And if we make to pull the trigger, we have to make sure that he performs, because you don't want to be.
Actually, it's a nose. I'm sorry. Let me back it up. It was a
nose
defeat.
It was a very painful nose in Canada, and it was a tough race because I thought, to be honest, everyone did their job. I thought Sahin Savic rode a beautiful race. Really did. He saved ground. He came with one run. Horse was traveling for him. The horse ran his race. He looked great. He did everything right, and we've been tough on him. I think we ran him 3 times in 5 weeks. He's made over $800,000. He was second twice at Kentucky Downs and second in the race in Canada. So he's performing at the highest level.
Yeah,
I'd love to win one of these big ones for him because he deserves it. And he's a game horse, and he's actually hitting his best stride. He's a little bit of a non-sweater, so now that's cool.
Okay, yeah.
So usually non-sweaters will really thrive at this time of year, and he's very sound. So because he's sound, some of the horses are no longer on the same level as they were throughout the year. Or the group's getting smaller and smaller as the year goes on, which is normal. And a bit of a non-sweater, so he's probably loving the cool weather.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. I had a horse who was a bit of a non-sweater too, so I can sympathize. But yeah, he put up a career best figure there in the Canadian International.
At the age of 6, which is very neat.
I know, and he's still intact.
Correct.
How's his temperament? How's he hanging in the barn there?
You know, it's funny because he actually has he's got a young girl who rides him every day, and they get along very good. And he's actually like my strongest physical. He's one of the most imposing we have in the barn. But he's very sweet, and he gets along with his female rider very, very well. But it's funny if you switch it up to someone who's a bit more aggressive and so he doesn't quite take to it. So he's got a very good relationship with his rider, who's going to be going to California if he does go, and we'll see. But they've been working
I
out.
love. I mean, this is a horse who's already a millionaire. My gosh. I
Yeah,
mean, these are the type of yeah, yeah, a multimillionaire, $2,118,593. But 29 career starts. He's been in the money in 16 of those. That's flipping impressive.
correct.
I mean, when we're looking at horses, when we talk about early retirements and this, that, the other, you see a horse like
We're not
that.
retiring him. We're going one more year at least. Keep going.
I love it.
If we were a little bit lucky, and the Belmont Gold Cup was run on the grass, because it was taken off the grass,
Yeah, yeah.
which was devastating. But it was taken off the grass, and there's a world where I would have been very, 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 very tempted. In other words, we were going to the Melbourne Cup. I do think he stays 2 miles, and I would love to go there. It's a really
Oh my
phenomenal race.
gosh.
It's a race that stopped the nation. We're not there.
Yes.
For the Flying Start, I loved it.
Okay.
That was a great race.
I would love to see that. And I think that's an incredible goal. Let's see that happen. Talking about, we mentioned Tampa before. I know this filly very well, Ozara. Now, this is one may not go potentially, but she is a game filly. Daughter Lope de Vega. She was last 8th, but beaten just 4 1/4 there in the Grade 1 First Lady at Keeneland. But she was going into that race off 2 back-to-back victories in the De La Rose and the Boston Spa.
Yeah, she was unlucky. She was unlucky. If you watch the race at Keeneland, unfortunately,
Traffic, as it says right there. Exactly.
Beat it a bit hard, unfortunately, the stretch, and I don't think she really ever had a passage to run, which is racing, especially running in the grass.
Yeah.
We can't complain too much because I thought she had 2 remarkable rides from Dylan Davis in Saratoga when he won the De La Rose, as well as when he won the Bolton Spa, like 2 peach of her rides both times. And so it just happens. It's just racing, and you have to turn the page.
Yeah, we'll see what she does next. Now, Farbridge, we're thinking
Probably Pegasus.
probably
Just give him a bit of a
Pegasus.
break. He's had a bit of a long year.
Yes.
And, it's okay. Just give him a little R&R, give him a little time. But he's sound. He's doing well. Just give him some break. I don't think his last race was as good as what he did all year long. So he's probably just telling us there's maybe one race too many.
Well, I mean, and again, you got to have respect for him. He's run in the money in 4 of 6. 3 of those are wins. And he's gotten a bit of a fan following. Have you taken note of that?
Yeah, very much so. It's great when horses are able to run at the highest level for multiple years to develop a little bit of a following. So one thing you would hope that our best horses do come back. So you have to applaud the connections of Sierra Leone, for instance, for bringing them back one more year. Fierceness as well, because financially it's not always in the best interest for them to keep running after such a great season. But it's great when horses are performing at the highest level to see them year in, year out. It's great,
Yeah, it definitely is. And now going to talk about, so again, you had, just from admire the weekend perspective, again, you had the exacta there in the Ontario fashion. You also had Love Cervere win the Grade 3 Glen Cove. I mean, this is a big weekend. That one hurt me though, because I was trying to beat her because she was too short of a price. So I had the horse who ran second lose at 8-1.
Yeah, the stable's been great. I think the stable won 3 greatest stakes last weekend and 2 this weekend.
Yes.
They're in form. It's in form, and we're lucky. Canada was neat. The Rays and Gallon Rush running 1-2 was neat.
I love to see. That was the thing. I know she had not, correct me let me double check here. I'm going to pull it up. Yes. So she had never been on synthetic before. But when I was handicapping that race, because we had to give selections for that one, I do a show called, or a little side gig with Railbirds. And so we have to give picks for these various races that are selected. We're in a contest. So I went with her over Gallon Rush because I like the back class so much. And I like the upside of the variable of whether or not she would take to the synthetic. And I taught the pedigree, and I saw enough there that all weather would not be a problem, or in this case, the Tapeta specifically. but she was also a better price. So it was really cool to see you get the exacta. I mean, Gallon Rush was rushing there toward the end.
No, it's great. So Gallon Rush is 6. She won the Prescott Masters.
Yes.
But it's also a tale of two trips. So I just got the rags this afternoon. Gallon Rush was second, beating 3/4 length,
Yes.
ran a point and 3/4 faster than the winner, Leraise. So it just shows you the one filly had a dream trip because she was well drawn post one. The other one filly was, drawn, I think 7, but in fact it turned out to be 6 of 7 or 6 of 8. But she was always 3-4 wide. She was never able to drop in. I don't blame the race. It was just racing circumstance. He tried to come in, and another filly was impeding him, and he was always stuck 3-4 wide because he couldn't drop in, which was unfortunate. He came with a late run. Plus, she was giving weight. So,
yeah.
So, these are things that you can't control, is the race dynamics. You can control the way they're doing and how they're going, but once the starting gates opened, you can control who's on them. But then after that, it's all these factors you can't control. So it's neat. Leraise, we were optimistic because her last 6 works, 5 of her last 6 works were on the grass, and I think it was like 5 of the last 6. If you look at any of her works on XBTV, her works are like spectacular. She worked like breath away. She was working some of her best fillies. She was working lights out with them. So when she ran first time out in the Dilla Rose, it was a mile. She was beaten the length, and I was very upset. We won the other division with Lazara, but she was beaten, and I thought she had just as good of a chance to win that day. So I said, okay, she was a bit short. You blame it on me. That's fine. Came back, and I think it was the perfect sting. And beaten that day, I was very upset. There was no excuse. It was not fitness, and I was very, very, very upset. And then I said, maybe we're just trying to, stretch her too far. And she's so dazzling in the morning and electric. Maybe we should just cut her back in trip because she's like push button and as impressive as can be. Actually, it was Joelle that recommended to me as well. It's confirmed that you should cut her back in trip. But like in the morning, she was like spectacular. So I'm happy that she finally put it through for us on race day.
No, it's got to, but that also has to feel rewarding just working it out. I know whether.
Yeah, but I got it wrong twice. I didn't get it wrong twice. I rather just sprinted in Saratoga. There's some great races.
You figured.
I make one mistake, I get it, but I mean the second mistake that really upset me. I made the mistake not once but twice. That really upset me. But that's it. There you go.
I mean, hey, you got it in the sweet spot there, and the only thing that could have made the Ontario fashion better is if it had been a dead heat, I guess, right?
Yeah, I agree. That would have been very sweet because there would have been 2 grade 3s. We could have counted as a stable. But yeah, I agree.
Well, how is it deciding trying a new surface altogether though? Like putting her on that Tapeta.
No, she moved. She was a good mover. I think if you're a good mover, you could handle the synthetic tracks quite well. I wasn't as worried about it. Same as Gallon Rush. Gallon Rush handles all synthetic tracks, plus turf. Plus she run a couple of times fair, plus some dirts. She's very consistent. She's gonna be sold in November, so it's a blow.
Okay.
Correct. If anyone buys her and would like to run her as a 7-year-old, I mean, I would love to throw our hand out there and say we would love the opportunity. If you believe in numbers, she's actually running her best numbers now as a 6-year-old, just like Tawny Port.
That's incredible.
And I think her last 3 races, she ran like an 8-9-9 or 8-9-8 rag. I mean, she's really running some great numbers at the moment. And
she shows up on every. She has shown up, and shown an effort. In every one of her races, even where, she got well beaten, for example, in the Hendry. It's not like, I mean, there's.
That was our fault. I don't know what we did wrong, but there's the only race she didn't fire this year, but you blame us for that one. But except for that one start, she's been very consistent. She was a bit
exactly
the first time at Prescott. She was stuck very, very, very wide with Joelle the first time in the Satan and Lace, I believe it's called. But then Joel redeemed himself by winning the Prescott Masters with the Peach for Ride. So I mean,
yes,
much rather we win the Grade 2 than the Satan Lace, the Prep. So thank you, Joel. And she's very consistent. But West Point deserve a lot of credit because they're game enough to run her. Many would have retired her at the end of last year as a 5-year-old.
Yeah,
I know the racing partnership, but still, they deserve a lot of credit, West Point, for letting us run one more year. Because I give them a little nudge saying this. I really think we should. But at the end of the day, it's their decision, and they were game to do it, so they deserve all the credits. Now she's a Grade 2 winner coming on.
I mean, again, I love seeing it. I mean, as you've already gone over, the fact that she's put together a lengthy career, still going at 6 years old. This is another horse that's run over 20 times, in this case, 25 times. And I mean, was it 17 times in the money out of that? I love that. What has been the key for keeping your horses sound? Is it giving them that time off?
Without doubt, and just checking legs and monitoring soundness. It's never a perfect mathematical equation, so sometimes it's a bit of an art, and sometimes we get it wrong, but the whole point is to get it more right than wrong, and look after them, and they look after you. It's basically the stable mantra. So.
And every horse is different. Every horse is different. So let's now go back to talking about the 2-year-old. Oh, actually, no. Before we end up with Botas, let's talk about the mare. Let's talk about.
Beliza.
Actually, still a filly. She's still a filly, technically.
She's a 4-year-old filly, and she's
4-year-old.
very special. So yes.
Yes, I have the replay here of the Flower Bowl. So you can take us through this race as well, if you will. She's in the 8 hole, right?
Yes, she's in the 8 hole. This is a tale of 2 trips. So we have the favorite with La Mejana and the LSU silks. There's Beliza, the Moigler silks. And my only instruction to Jaime especially was to drop in, wait, and cover up. Same with La Mejana. And this is the tail trip because you can see the first turn, they're both too wide. Which I was in over confused, but at least Beliza is getting cover from the stablemates, whereas the stablemates, you're going to see momentarily, has no cover. I do think switching them off, especially going at this turf marathon, makes a big difference. And then right now you can see Jaime's going to go back to the rail in the next few seconds. And then for about 50 yards in the second turn, he's going to be too wide and quickly takes back and drops in. And the more you switch them off at this distance, the better they're going to have a turn of foot. She's very good. She's a very good filly. She's gorgeous. She's beautiful. We're very lucky because Moigler is a great long-term support of the stables.
Yeah.
But for 50 yards, I was like, nope, try to tuck her in, and he just does that. And there you go. It's right to the rail, which I was very happy with. Switches are off, and the more you switch them off at that distance, the better they finish. That's why you see in French racing, they always go very slow, but they're always single file. There's a reason for it. The French have a very good turn of foot, usually, because they crawl, and sprint home. So what do? You do to switch them off. We got plenty of pace in this race would be your best. And even though we were at the back with the 2 fillies, and even though Beliza was last, I wasn't overly concerned because as long as they had a good trip and they had a passage, they looked like they was traveling great and they were full of run. So,
well, I mean, and as you're saying, talking about this is a big, beautiful filly. She's daughter of Suyuni. Talk about a French
Galileo mare.
Yes, out of a Galileo mare, terrific.
Pedigree. She's everything you like to train. She's beautiful. She's strong. She takes her work well. And
what were your first impressions of her when she was imported?
So she actually, she's, to be credit to them, she won. She was already a stakes winner abroad from the previous connections, and they did a very good job with her. And sometimes some fillies just like transform in the States. She put on like 100, 150 pounds.
Yeah, she looks powerful.
And she's amazingly powerful, and she's really done well in the States. Sometimes they don't do as well. They don't adapt as well as you expect. Sometimes they do. She really settled in well, and she just thrived from day one. So, and she actually prefers firm turf. Twice we ran her with some cut in the ground.
And she had yielding, yeah.
She didn't actually appreciate it, but she still ran second and third in these big races because she's such a good filly. You could see she was never comfortable in spinning her wheels. She looked so good on the bridle. And off the bridle, she labored a bit. And on firm turf, I think you see a different dimension. She was very good.
So you're really looking forward to getting her out to Del Mar then for that.
It's a mile 3/8. I know she handles the turf, being firm in the distance. Most of the fillies you can't. My biggest fear, unfortunately, would be the Europeans. So I do think we're a class above us. So let's see who they send over. But in terms of how she's trained very well. She worked 2 days ago, and she'll have one more work before leaving. I've already got it all scheduled. I've got the big stress of my last 48 hours was doing the British Cup preps and works. And
oh gosh, yeah. How do you?
I've done all of it. So I got Botas working tomorrow. I've got Intricate Spirit working once before he gets on a plane. I'm only going to work him once. Beliza worked 2 days ago. She's going to work once more next Tuesday or Wednesday, subject to weather. Then she's going to leave.
Okay.
I've done all the works in the Pelani. It was a long stress, but we finally got it. And once we figure everything out like so far in advance, and you thought of everything and every combination, there's going to be at least a curveball or two to mess it up. But that's okay. The point is at least you have a plan and you try to stick to your plan.
And how stressful is it shipping them out cross country? She's already made the trip across the pond. How did that come about with finding her and getting her imported here to the United States?
So Moigler Stud Farms have been a great.
As you said, yeah, great relationship with.
And they've had many good horses over the years. Relaxed Gesture, who won the Patterson Canadian International, the race that Tony Port just missed back in the day. Steel Light, Lizio Rose, you name it. They've had many great horses. for many years. So they thought it was a natural fit for her to come to the States. She was only a stakes winner. Since coming to the States, she's a 4-time greatest stakes placed. She's won 2 of them, winning a grade 2 and a grade 3. She's grade 1 place now as well. So like, she's the right type of frame. If you improve a little bit coming to the States, or you have an affinity for firm turf, you could really take it to another level here. And she's probably the banner of what these European fillies can do in the States. Yeah.
That's awesome. And how did Mahana come out?
So Dad actually secured her in the Arcana Deauville December sale 2 years ago, and he liked her a lot. I was a little dubious because she was running over sometimes like an extended distance, turf marathon 2 miles. But he was right. Per usual, the boss was right. So I was first for even questioning him. And actually, a friend of his actually owned her in France, so it made sense, So it's a full circle.
Oh.
And she's been very good to us. She's also going to be selling in November. I think
Really?
she's a prospect. Correct. So we need to start replacing these 6-year-olds, unfortunately. But she loves soft turf. We saw that in the Glen Falls when she won for fun. She's been very consistent. She ran at the highest level, and we're very active. I've got an uncle who trains in France, so it's easier to gauge. I follow a lot of European racing. I've got many friends there who advise us, so I follow it closely. Some other parts of the world, I don't have the time to do it. So South America, unfortunately, I don't. And Australia, I don't. In Asia, I'm very weak in that regards of racing knowledge as well. But usually France, England, a little bit of Ireland, I've got a strong grasp on that because we followed it very closely.
I mean, not to like stereotype or anything, but is the Arc like a goal race for you?
I don't know. 'Cause I don't think I'll be able to do it because if you have a horse who's good enough for the Arc, it means he's good enough for the British Cup turf. And for us, an American, to
an
send
enable
to the Arc, we're going to be going against it. So you're going to ship all the way there.
Yeah, right.
All the way back. It's going to be, at least if you're a European, you're based there, you're French.
Yeah.
In your backyard near more or less. And then you make one big ship. That, if you have a horse good enough, you're going to be a double ship. I know we thought about it one idea, toying with the idea with a horse like a Gioponti. And, we've had some very good turf horses who toyed with the idea. But it didn't make sense if you had the British Cup just a few weeks later. But there's some race I would love to compete in. Royal Ascot is always very prestigious. I would love to. There's some major races. Actually, any big race around the world, you've always had dreams of. Melbourne Cup, Dubai World Cup, big races. Any big race you want to compete at the highest stage. If you're not running on that day and you're watching on TV, I think any real trainer would agree with you that they're a little bit disappointed they're not there. And it's tough to really be overly excited because we're all a little too competitive and we all want to partake in these big race days. And then once you finally do have a run on these big race days, you're always a bit on the muscle in a good way. You want to be there, you want to be seen, you want to compete.
Of course. And you're going to be competing plenty at our world championships between, again, Belize looks legit. And if what you're saying, that firm ground, she can move up even further. That's very exciting. And just going back to her on the pedigree note, her mother is a full sister to Together.
She's very, very well bred. So she's a big deal.
You have to be. Anytime you're if you have a mirror by Galileo, there's got to be a ton of pedigree behind you.
Especially if they come from Moegler, because they're great.
Yes.
They have great pedigrees, and it's a real gift and luxury and treat to have them in the stables, and we're very lucky.
Well, let's talk about Bottas, and he is named for Valtteri Bottas, the Formula One race car driver. He's from Finland, and they made a big announcement because in 2026 we got the new American team from Cadillac, and he's one of the 2 drivers for them.
Correct. So I'm a big Formula One fan, actually.
So you got to name the horse?
No, I did not name him.
Oh,
so I'm very, very happy about the name. Very happy about the name. And that's great. It's exciting. Case Clay actually picked him out.
Oh, I love Case.
Great. Good. So
Case is wonderful.
We'll speak nicely about him then. So Case Clay picked him out. He was actually at the Paul Sharp consignment, and it caught our eye. So it was great. Vacoma's a very good sire.
Yes.
I believe he's a half to a very good Wattenham racing horse as well. If you look on the second dam, he's got plenty of pedigree to him.
Oh, so yeah, the mom's a half sister to sovereign champion turfer El Tormenta.
Correct. It was a good miler, nearly won the Woodbine Mile, I believe.
Yes.
So that gave us an inclination to also try the grass. I thought he moved very well in the mornings, and it's exciting. He's 2 for 2. He's game.
And that
It's still a
last,
big green, but he's just figuring it out. And I hope he's mature enough mentally to handle a full field. That's why the other day was a big deal. Because even though he won impressively on debut, it was a little bit like a piece of work. You know, it was a 6-horse field, it was a strung out
right.
field in that sense. And he was never in between. You know, he's always at the back with Flavin. And then he circled him in the stretch, and he showed a great turn of foot to win.
Yeah.
But he wasn't really, he wasn't bumped, he wasn't exposed, he was never covered up in behind horses, he was never went in between left, right. He really had like a piece of work where it's very controlled in the early. That's why the other day it was so impressive for me because mentally he was in between horses, he was covered
Oh,
up
I've
in a good way. He had to bump, he had check, he had to go in, out, Manny looking for room, and he had to really dig in deep, which I love to see that
yeah.
because I do think there's even more improvement, not from a physical standpoint, but from a mental component with him.
I have the race right here. And when I was watching it back, I was so struck by all he had to overcome in this race, starting with the gate break. He kind of like got out of there a little awkwardly, and got himself into what he could in terms of position, but he's boxed in between horses. And then he had a really rank horse next to him. And I've got the replay. So instead of me trying to
Oh,
describe it, I'll just
listen,
show.
if they win, always show the replay, please. We want
Always show the replay.
to.
And this is an impressive. He's in the 4 hole, y'all. Watch the 4. Watch how he comes out of the gate, and then just watch what happens after the fact because he had to, stay calm while another horse is going.
He's in the green silks for Donlin
Yes.
stable from post 4, correct. Done
And then
that.
he had to gut it out to the wire.
Touch slow out of the gates. I need to work on that one.
Well, that just looked like a matter like he kind of got off his haunches kind of awkwardly over into the side of the gate. But here now he's in between.
Touch
And then
gain
9.
for about 50 yards. That was the only thing I was a little bit worried about. I was running to the first turn right here. He jumps a little bit on the bridle because you have 2 guys right next to him.
Yeah.
Right there, you can see he's getting a little bit keen. And then Manny, beautifully well ridden. Right here in the next 50 yards is where I thought he won the race. He's going to just slop him in right to the fence. And then it's great. He's in the dream trip. He's switched off. He's covered up in behind. And then you just have to hope, welcome to turf racing, will a gap emerge or not? But you can't blame a jock for putting you in that position. You win more often than not by saving ground on the grass. Sometimes you're infuriated because you don't ever have an opportunity to run. But that's what you sign up for. I mean, it's no different than the race in Canada this weekend we won. We run 1-2. You had the tail of 2 trips.
Yeah.
Had Rafael Hernandez was boxing with Larrays, we'd all blame him. But because it opened up for him, he saved all the ground and he got first run because it's a dream trip. So you're praised or you're crucified, basically, depending if you get gap, which is not really fair. But
No, but I mean, again, this is a horse with that debut that you mentioned, and I can understand why you're saying, okay, it was a shorter field. You want to see him tested. He still was so impressive in that. But this, to show the guts he has here, we watch him come off the turn. Again, he's the 4 horse. He's going to be right there. He's now sidled up alongside the 2, and then he goes in between, and the 9 is still green.
yeah, he's not push button. It takes him a little bit of time to get going, so we need to work on that still in the mornings. And when he finally gets going, he really gets going. Same as works. And now he's game. Yeah, the other horse is actually lugging in from the 7
Here's
path all the way
Johnny.
to the 2 path. Correct. He actually cut him twice because he's got to do 2 superficial cuts on our horse. But that's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
Really?
Over it. Yeah, because our guy swings a bit. And the other guy came from like the 7-8 path all the way to the fence.
Oh my goodness.
It was rough. It was rough. It wasn't like it was. He really came in on him. But the horse, both test was clean and good enough game enough to win in the morning, or in the afternoons, not have to go to the stewards, I guess. But his game, that's great. And Manny rode him great, and Manny will ride him. So it's exciting.
That's very exciting. And as you mentioned, a son of a coma, he's a second crop representative of that stallion who's just, I mean, what a first crop he had as it is. And now, continuing on with the quality here. Again, just when you're bringing horses over, it's tough enough and getting them prepped for any specific race. Do you find it more difficult with the 2-year-olds and just kind of figuring it out because you're still learning so much about them in the day to day?
No, I don't think so. If you know them well, it's the same as anything else. By the time they're at the Breeders' Cup, they're like an older horse in that regard. The stable's always been very strong with 2-year-olds. If you look at the stats, I think we've always won above 20% with 2-year-olds. No, I don't think so. I think it's at this stage, if you're still trying to figure them out, I mean, it's a bit surprising if you made it to the British Cup while not knowing them quite well enough. So I think they're all mature enough in that sense. He himself, it just takes a little bit of time to get going. But once the penny drops, it really explodes. So we just have to make sure that it's more push button for Manny, so that when we ask him, because if you have a small gap and you need to punch through, you don't want to take 20 or 30 yards for him to get going and finally figure it out what it's all about. So you kind of want him to be instant acceleration push button like. So we can work on our side because the horse has the talent. So you just have to teach him.
And how do you handle the oncoming press, figuratively and figuratively, or literally and figuratively, when you go out there to California? Because obviously there's a lot of press that you have to do, talking about these horses while still keeping the day-to-day maintained with the string out there. How do you balance all of that?
That's
The
simple.
whole experience.
If there's something I don't know, I've got a very smart sister, a very, very strong charactered mother as well, and a great wife. So between the three of them, they're going to figure it out for me. And horses to run in an oval, and they can take care of everything else.
They'll put in the dinner reservations.
I'm surrounded by very, very strong females in my life. So yes, correct.
Oh my goodness. And how do the horses you feel handle big press days like that? You've had a lot of, really great performances from the Clement barn there at Breeders' Cup, specifically with a win also, Pizza Bianca in the Juvenile Fillies Turf.
That's actually her in the background. But
yeah.
But yeah.
Bobby Flay.
Correct. It's a very good day. And we had our fair share of heartbreaks, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Gio Ponte. Yeah.
Goldie and Zenyatta. I mean, you name any other race mare would never beat us, but he ran in the same year as Zenyatta and Goldikova. He would have nearly won the Breeders' Cup Mile and the Breeders' Cup, Classic.
What a testament to his versatility and his heart.
I think Zapro ran second to Wisedan. We ran second to some of the best. That's sometimes it's painful, the Breeders' Cup, but it's the the international. It was the Breeders' Cup stage, our highlights, like our championship meeting. So it's not supposed to be easy. So I guess you're expected to have heartbreak.
And when do you plan to get out there?
As of now, I'm thinking about sending all of them on Thursday, the week before, so 9 to 10 days out. So I've organized all their works to be 10 to 11 days out. I probably will not work anything in California. They'll do the last piece of work in Saratoga. And it's all done and calculated, and just have to stress and think about it every day and pray the weather's good and everything else goes right. But it's exciting. I'll probably go with them, and that's a big deal. So we'll go out. We might run some other horses as well there for the undercard stakes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, correct. You have a 5 furlong stakes race on the grass for the Senator. I forgot the name of the stakes, but it's for fillies and mares, older mares. So severely considering 1 or 2 for that race. We also have the Goldikova Stakes, which is a grade 3 going a mile. Yeah. Breathway might be sold in November. If that's the case, maybe we take one more swing at it. Zara's under consideration as well. You got a few other races as well. So it's just a question of how they're doing at this time of year. It's very easy to train in the fall because they either look very well and they eat very well, or they don't. At this time of year, if they're sound, they're eating well, and they look well, just run them. It's that simple because it means they're still doing well. Most horses are crashing, which is normal because it's not as, it's a long season for them. And the conditions here, you could quickly tell who's thriving and who's not. That's why I think we've had like 6 or 5 or 6 Breeders' Cup winning your ins. We're not going to take them all. We're going to take the ones you think are doing well and deserve to have a spot.
How hard of a decision was that for you? Or was it pretty easy because the horse told you, hey,
so
put me on the shelf for a little bit?
Any decision with horses, it's simple. They never lie to you. They never lie to you. So it's whether you want to acknowledge the truth or you miss it. So it's that simple. So it's either you miss it, which happens, or you just don't want to acknowledge it right away, or you're hopeful and you're hoping it's not quite the case it is. So, but if you really listen and look at them and see them train every day, they eat, they're well, they tell you. It's not a surprise. When you know them very well, you know when they're going to run a big race or not. Sometimes after the fact, you might have missed something or something takes place unexpected, fine, fair game. But usually you have a very good inclination of what goes on and who you should bring. Now, in terms of owners and people, expectations, and what you're supposed to do, that's a story for another day. But you know the ones you're bringing over there that have a good chance, and you should only bring the ones that have a good chance, more so than just experience. Because if you're not 100%, the Breeders' Cup's not. It's not like a common race, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You need to be at your tip-top best to even come close, and you need to be doing very, very well.
Yeah, no, definitely. Now, a little curveball question for you, because I'm curious. there was a filly, a 2-year-old filly working with Beleza. Who is that? And is this a horse? It says yet to debut, a maiden named
No,
Skywatcher.
she ran up Meadowlands. She got beat a
Oh,
nose.
she did.
It was a
Oh,
painful nose. Um, for box stables. And it was painful. It was very
ah,
painful. You mentioned that one. I think Chad.
sorry.
Uh,
I didn't know she'd run yet because
rode
I
a very
saw it was
good race.
October 12th.
Christopher Elliott rode it, came up the fence, rode a very good race. And it was
Oh,
very painful. We got nailed late in the last stride. But listen, she's a nice, neat little filly. And I wanted to try the concept. Should we try her one day on dirt or not? Because she has dirt pedigree, but I always thought she'd move better on the grass. And so I got my answer there. And I thought Beliza worked very well with her. And I needed something that gave a bit more of a push. So it was an aggressive work. If you look at Beliza, she never works well on dirt. And this was a very aggressive work. Her last 2 works have been better and better. So that's why I'm cautiously optimistic. But I'm not also blind. The Europeans are loaded and they're going to come with it.
yeah.
But she works on 102 flat, which is something she's never done on dirt or come close. And then the next work is going to be something easy, slow by design. I worked her 19 days before her race. She's going to work back at 9 or 10 days, either Tuesday or Wednesday, subject to weather of next week. And just play with her. She's fit. I've done all the tough work. She's not run since the Flower Bowl, but she's beautiful. She's fit. Just worry about her well-being. I'm going to ship her 9 days out in theory. So last 8 days, just worry about her well-being. The quicker you get her to the feed tub, the better you are. Play with her mentally, paddock this, that, the other, and just run her. I'm very, very happy with her.
Oh, I love hearing that. And to wrap things up, I'm just curious because you have this worldwide experience in racing, and obviously your fingers on the pulse of everything that's happening, and especially with the Breeders' Cup itself. You're talking about the Europeans. Is there a horse in particular that, as a fan, that you're looking forward to seeing most?
So that answer changes because even if I'm a fan and I'm competing against them, I'm no longer looking towards it.
No.
For example, like the Joe Hirsch was a very good race. I think it was a 5-horse race. But when I saw that both Rebels Romance and El Cordorbs are both coming from Europe to run against Farbridge, it was not my best 30 seconds when I saw that. You know,
I had a moment like that.
you want to be a fan. It's great for racing to be a fan, but
Yeah.
we're all very competitive.
Yeah.
So in theory, I would love to see, if I'm not competing in a race, a great match race, or not great match race, a great 12-horse race, full field, spectacular field, great finish, drama. I love it. If I'm in the race, I'm very competitive. I would love to see like a 6-horse race that gets scratched down to a 2 or 3-horse race, and that's the race I want to be in because you have a better chance of winning it. And it's not very gentlemanlike. I get it. I do have my faults and imperfections. I'm very competitive. And I rather the weakest field possible if I'm in the race, and then I'd like to see great racing at the highest level for all the races we're not in. So that's naughty, but very true. Rebels Romance you have to respect.
Yeah.
Time and time again, and he's a world traveler. He's won biggest races in Hong Kong, I believe.
Yeah.
Dubai, Germany, Europe. I mean, you name it. The States several times. I mean, he's like a true superstar. Probably does not get enough recognition. And those are the horses you love. When I was a kid, one of my favorite horses was like Ouija Boy, the mare, because she competed at the highest level throughout many, many continents. And I always feel like in this country, we're too scared to take risks. But I applaud someone who runs them all the time and takes challenges. You know, when Rachel Alexandra ran in the Woodworth, I thought it was great for racing. When Zenyatta ran against the boys, it was great for racing.
Except for
I was in the classic and ran second to it. But I mean, overall, you have to respect it. It was great for racing, just not for us. But I mean, when they take challenges, Torpedo Anna came back one more year. That was great. Those are things that you love to see. You love to see challenges. You love to see it tested. And even when we go abroad, I would love to see more Americans going abroad. It's just as tough because they're very good, especially when we're running against them in their backyard. Europe, but Dubai, it's really us and more Japan now, the likes and dirt that you have to worry about. So I mean, same as Saudi. So it's fun. It's fun to see those international days, and there's many great races and many great horses. I think the whole competing around the world, it's something I would love to do more, but you need to have a horse good enough to do it. That's the important thing is you need a very, very, very good horse to do it.
Well, you just mentioned like Rebels Romance being good for racing. How hard is it to? I mean, we've seen Goldakova win 3 editions of the Breeders' Cup Mile, but he'd be going for his 3rd Breeders' Cup Turf. I mean, to give a horse to.
I mean, if we're not running Tawny Ports, I'll be very excited. I'll probably be his biggest fan, and if we are running Tawny Port,
Then you're his biggest enemy.
I don't know about enemy, but I wouldn't mind if
Or
we stretch it out
rival.
to a
How about
full
rival?
horse race, and then maybe we'll see what happens. You know, I don't know how that's going to happen, but you know, you could always have dreams. You know.
Yeah, no, definitely. And this has been great. I'm so thrilled for you. I really am. I mean, it, to just see the barn coming together the way it has, I think you're like 21%, which is just like fantastic. Anybody for any barn to be striking at that rate is it's so impressive. And these horses are just looking to all be coming into their own. And I also do respect that you've made the decisions with some of them that you have in regard to waiting for other races down the road. But I mean, as far as these youngsters go with Intricate Spirit and with Botas, oh, by the way, I should ask you, I'm sorry, one more question. Does Valtteri know there's a horse named in his honor? Will he go to the Breeders' Cup?
I don't know. That's a Case Clay question. I would hope he knows that something very fast named after him. So hopefully we do him proud. And being a big Formula One race car fan now after watching the Netflix series, that would be really cool if he actually knows about it. But
Is he on X? Let's
yeah,
tag him in this interview and I retweet it. I'll be like, hey.
yeah, no, it's neat. It's neat
Not
that
that
it's named
I
after
don't know if
him.
the algorithm will push
Hopefully
it
it's
to it.
fast. I don't know, but it's neat, and that too is what's racing's great. You know, to bring in
Yeah.
new people to the sports, and it's what's all about. It's something fun and it's, you know, good, well named, and we'll see. It's exciting.
I know it is exciting. So, I mean, congratulations to you, the whole team. Acacia, she's still hanging over there. I got to see a glimpse of her earlier. She's again, she does so much for racing, and so I hope she knows that we all appreciate it as well. I mean, from in front of the camera to at the barn with racing for home and her mom. Tremendous job
Yeah,
from the Courtney team.
you're forgetting the most important thing she does is looking after me. I'm a full-time job. I mean, my job is anything with four legs. Everything else is my family and my wife have to look after me.
Oh,
Four legs is a me thing. Anything that's not four legs is unfortunately delegated to them, and they have to help me. So I can only focus on four-legged creatures. That's what I like to do.
oh gosh. Well, I'm sure. I mean, hey, I'm happy to do my share of taking care of Matt. He helps take care of me though too, so I can't take too much credit. But we love taking care of our loved ones, so it's just part of it, right? It's
Very
it's
much.
it's the teamwork.
Divide and
You know.
conquer.
Yeah, like I mean, you guys are. It's like the match. It's like the match set. You know, you have to have horses and stuff together, right? When they're pulling the carriage. So that's what a marriage is. You got to pull that along in stride. And I just think it's wonderful to see such success and the work ethic that's been shown. And I truly do appreciate the insight into the international aspect of it as well. And it's obviously served you tremendously there at the barn. So, Miguel, I mean, again, thank you so much for your time. And was there anything else was there something I missed by any chance that I should have
Sure, you
brought
missed
up?
a lot of things, unfortunately. There's a lot going on, a lot of problems, a lot of good things, a lot of stress. It's like welcome to a stable. It's, you know, it's changing. It's never guaranteed, and it's always, you know, last moment second guessing and changing. It's not always easy. We make a lot of mistakes, but hopefully we get it more right than wrong. And that's basically my job is to be sometimes just like a fireman extinguish fires. You know, when you have a dream and then it didn't quite work out, and you rally and rally the troops and go on again. So we'll see.
Oh, that's true. No, it's true. And you know what? I'll give you the platform to say right now. Is there anything that you would want to say that maybe people either new to the sport, people have even been involved in the sport for a long time, but maybe you just feel like maybe they don't understand it from this perspective? What is one of the main things that you would want them to know or understand? And what is the biggest takeaway that you want them to have regarding you specifically in terms of what you do as a trainer?
I like to think I work very hard and we're honest and we try our best. But specifically to me,
Yeah.
uh, listen, I do much better with a very fast, talented horse than a slow one. It's that simple. I mean, it's selfish, but it's true. That's
You can't make them go 5 miles faster?
no, I'm not that good. I'm not that good. I'm not that good. I need all the help I can get. So if you have a very fast horse, please send it to us because I need all the help I can get. You know?
Oh. I know. I love it. Like sometimes I do have to laugh with some of the feedback on a race every now and then where it's like, expectations for performance from a horse is just like, well, they're not machines. And what you see on the paper isn't always how something's going to pan out. At the end of the day, any given race can have a completely different set of variables come into play than you could have ever anticipated. And you just have to roll with it.
Yeah, that's why you need to have great jocks. Ones who could call audibles last moment. And they're there not just to ride you well, but also to prepare for the unexpected. And correct. That's why I do think it's a big deal as well.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate all the time you've given us today and all the best going forward into the Breeders' Cup. Again, everybody, this has been your Future Stars forecast on a 2-year-old Tuesday featuring Miguel Clement. Congratulations.
Thank you very much for having me on.